Get your cigars and get your popcorn. It's the third Saturday in October, and around these parts, it only means one thing. Alabama, Tennessee going head-to-head, and sometimes when you look at the rivalries for the Alabama Crimson Tide, you start to rank who it is that they hate, who it is that they hate more, who it is that they hate the most. And, I mean, Tennessee, could, at any given season, could fall in all three of those categories. Just depending on how the caliber team. And lately, they've really been disliked because Tennessee's been pretty good on Josh Heupel.
They've made it a rivalry again for the longest time. For there's a whole generation of people that if you were an Alabama fan, you did not know losing to Tennessee was even a thing. If you're a Tennessee fan, you did not think beating Alabama was a thing. But you're right. Over the last 5 years, the tide has turned, so to speak, in this game. And
the other way.
Exactly. I think Tennessee now, they come in with a lot of confidence. A few years ago, I don't know if you were in Knoxville that year when they beat Alabama for the first time. It was like a sigh of relief. It was a
sigh of relief, and also they drank the town dry because Lord Almighty, they put the goalposts in the river. It was like I don't even know what was going on.
Right.
Just the scenes were insane.
Exactly, and I'll pull from Lane Kiffin here because what Lane Kiffin said was really instrumental when Ole Miss beat LSU a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah.
He was so happy that the fans did not storm the field. Why? Because that is the standard for them.
They
think of themselves as like,
that's a big deal.
We should beat LSU. Tennessee now sees Alabama in that same light. 6 years ago, it wasn't that way, but now it is that way. And now coming into this game, these two teams, not necessarily different. I think Bama's playing more balanced, but Tennessee, there's a lot of confidence, especially on offense.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up their schedule right now because I do think that, this team was a field goal away from being undefeated.
Yeah.
They were that close to being, not ranked 11th, but being ranked first in the country or second in the country, maybe. I mean, and that's really the margin of difference when it comes to what it can take. Going on the road in Tuscaloosa, no knock on Bryant Denny, but it's not like one of the top caliber difficulty places to play. And I'm not trying to be that guy. It's just not. It's the place is just not on top of you. I mean,
we can say the quiet part out loud. It's a wine and cheese crowd.
You're having a good time. You're up there there's air conditioned boxes. Everyone feels good. The crowd, the student section usually leaves, midway of the third quarter.
It's part of it.
And they're ready to go. And that's just at least during the Saban era, that's what it was. So I was begging fans to stay for 4 quarters because they were peacing out. Dude, it was long in a row. What do you want us to do? I mean, it's 70,000 degrees.
Yeah.
It's 8 p.m. and nobody wants to be there. In those cases, it was 12:30 and the bars were getting going. So it was time to go. All that to say, this is a big opportunity and it's a big game, and people are excited because it's an Instagram game. You got your cigars, everyone. So naturally, that's part of it. Everyone's got their cigars out there, and that's a big part of how much people just are excited for the hoopla of this. And when you think about the opportunity for both of these teams to go either one. There's 2 different directions that both of these teams can go. Of course, Alabama right now has 1 loss, though it is outside of conference play. So that's all still on the line. Like Alabama has a little bit of leeway there. Tennessee, you drop 2 games in conference and you start to be on the outside looking in of the SEC championship game caliber team. I think you start to get into kind of a position where it's a little bit, you're just a little uncomfortable about what that can look like. You play a little bit more tight. I feel like Alabama, can just play a little more free in this one in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, the margins are a lot thinner for Tennessee if they want to repeat a performance and repeat, going back to the college football playoff game. Now, I think what about Tennessee that really, we talked with Sam Granville about this earlier this week, that makes me a little worried is how well Alabama's offense is playing and how terribly Tennessee's defense is playing.
Yeah.
Outside of the interceptions they get, they are first in the league in points allowed. First in the league in points scored, last in the league in points allowed. Same thing with yardage. I just don't think you could be that Jekyll and Hyde and able to wins and then cross your fingers for turnovers in against the Alabama team who is not turning the ball over.
Yes.
That's why Ty Simpson won that job because he wasn't turning the ball over. So you have Bama's strength in ball security against what Tennessee does well, the only thing they do well on defense. And to me, that's not a mixture that breeds winning success, especially in Tuscaloosa. As you mentioned, that crowd's not great.
People say complimentary football and things like that, and it works both ways because if you're playing well in both sides in a way where it's complementing one another, great. And if you're doing something on both sides that is hurting one another, and things, the wheels can truly fall apart in that regard, no question. We did hear from Josh Heupel talking about that defense that has not been the greatest that we've seen. Talking about the run defense. Let's take a listen to Coach.
Yeah, at times we've played it extremely well, and in particular early the other night we didn't. Some of it was just fits off of our rotations and what we're seeing from them. Scheme-wise, some of it was just destructing blocks and making plays, tackling. But as the game went on, we sure handled it in a better way. We just got to start faster.
Obviously, how you start is a big part of having success when it comes to any game in the SEC. There's no question about that. But I feel like for Alabama, you're kind of licking your chops as an opportunity to ground and pound and to kind of try to prove a point early on in this game. Whereas Heupel knows if you don't start fast, doesn't matter if you're playing, in backdoor football or Bryant Denny, the crowd's going to come against you.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the latest report on Jam Miller. I don't know how much Alabama will be able to run the football, because that's kind of been their one thing that they haven't been able to do well offensively, is to be able to ground and pound. They've kind of used the short passing game as their running game, and I'll see if they do that this upcoming week. But you're right. I think if you're Alabama, you set a number. You set a target, maybe 35 minutes, maybe 36, 37 minutes. We want to maintain the ball this long. Keep their offense off the field.
No question.
You don't want to.
Like Georgia did.
Yes.
And then you get into which way does it roll? Right. And it's not really always in your play. Sometimes it's just how the weather, how the wind blows.
Exactly.
So, yeah. That's certainly not a place that that Kane Womack, that Kalen DeBoer want to be, because right now everything is going about as well as it can go when it comes to their death black whatever hoodie the black hoodie of death or whatever that is.
He wore it the other day, right? He wore it at Missouri.
Yeah.
So yes, he did. Because it was on the lower third.
It's now 13 and 3, right? Yep. 13 and 2.
He doesn't have a choice.
13 and 2.
If that man walks into a stadium for a match that is being played on a Saturday,
great NIL deal right there.
Yes, if there's a game being played on a Saturday in which he is the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide and he is not wearing a black hoodie, someone's going to get arrested because they're going to be sprinting. Look, they want the black screen of death over here telling us to end the show. But literally, that was right there. That was no image.
Kalen, you got to wear black.
Honestly, wear black. Here we go. And it's staying here. It's saying literally make a decision. He's even played into it because he knows. The fans being against you is certainly doesn't, because they will not even. It'll be an omen that you do not want to deal with. Trust me, fans are that fickle. They will blame what you're wearing. They will blame what you ate the day before. If that is conspiracy theory, that's how life goes in the SEC, no question.